when the decision was made and then my transition out of rugby league commenced, it was the hardest thing I have ever endured. It more mentally than physically. It was from, being around your mates, the camaraderie, you miss that, the level of competitiveness. And then the hardest thing ever would be the identity piece. There are moments where, like, I sit at my desk and their silence is deafening. It is the loudest thing in the world for me. And it's being outside of what was familiar, and I felt really comfortable. It was like I was just drowning in the middle of the ocean, screaming for help, and no one was there.
You're listening to Becoming Match Fit, the podcast helping athletes and high performers build confidence, clarity, and opportunity on and off the field. I'm your host, Nick Greentree. 16 seasons, 250 plus games, and international honours. But what happens when the game ends and you are still wired for performance? Today, we're joined by Marty Taupau, former NRL powerhouse turned entrepreneur, mentor, and co-founder of Not Stationary. Before we jump in, today's episode is brought to you by MatchFit 360. Helping athletes and sports professionals turn their profile into real opportunities. If you're not sure where to start, grab your MatchFit score and join us inside the MatchFit membership. So welcome, Marty. It's so great to have you here on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me. It's super exciting.
It is very exciting. Now, I am keen to start at the very beginning. Before we all knew you as Marty Taupau at NRL, what did life look like for you prior to becoming an athlete?
Well, I was a New Zealand born, Samoan little boy trying to find my place in the world. Before I even discovered rugby league, we moved over to Australia in the year 2000, so the year of the Olympics. Played rugby union in New Zealand, not the greatest, but when I came to Australia, that's when I discovered rugby league. It was a whole different sport. I mucked up a lot. I didn't know the rules, but just went along with it as a young kid, and just found the love in it, connecting with friends, new people, different cultures, and it was a real great eye opener. And I enjoyed the environment.
Were you a disciplined kid, or were you someone who just had a heap of energy to burn and you're like, get me out on the field because I just need to play the game?
Right. So discipline was never in my vocabulary at a very young age. It was modeled around me and wasn't in around sport. It was obviously with my parents. My parents were working, so I had quickly realized that every single morning at 4:00 in the morning, Dad was always up, whether he had finished work really, really late. He was the first model that I'd seen. It's like, oh, right, this is discipline. And then when I was in rugby league structures and systems, it was having to turn up to training on Tuesday and Thursday and then play on Saturday. Those were when I had realized, oh, this is discipline. You got to turn up. You got to do everything right. It's like, these are the sort of the examples that really helped me develop.
And so from a young age, because you made the schoolboys team, so that's transition from recognizing talent into a system where there is more discipline. How was that for you? Was that sort of the beginnings of understanding how you need to manage yourself and really commit?
Yeah, it was. Like going through my high schooling and then also being through representative systems, there was a lot that I had to manage and I didn't know how to manage it, right? So when I was playing representative football for the Canterbury Bulldogs, I was at Canterbury District, I was in a system there. So it was being told, be at this time for training, you got to do X, Y, Z training. And then when I have to go to school, you have to do your homework. And there was a lot that was happening, and it became really overwhelming to the point where analysis paralysis kicks in, then procrastination kicks in, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to sit back and just hopefully it'll all go away, until there were mentors and there were teachers around that were helping just merge a few things, habit stacking. So it made it real simple for me. So hydration, sleep, which really helped with performance as an athlete, as a young school student. The training, getting up early during the night before was one of the big things. And that was the hardest thing for me to do is, when you're going through, whether it's training really late at night or in school, so the last thing you want to do is prepare the night before. But those were the habits that I had to perform to help me later on, which it has. And I was surrounded by a lot of people that really help express and show their wisdom and knowledge and pass it on to the next generation that help me become, the professional athlete that I was.
Fantastic. So through your career, Marty, you have been extraordinary in your leadership and you played for a number of clubs. But was there one or a few examples that really stand out for you that were extra special in your career?
So I would say there was some really, really cool milestones that I hit. The first one was debuting for the New Zealand Kiwis. Being a New Zealand born Samoan, it's the pinnacle to the Kiwis. And then when I was handed that jersey and then being able to play alongside legends of the game, that was one of the big milestones time for me. And then going on and playing 24 tests. Yeah, when I think about it, it's not many people or players that get to say that, played 10, 20 tests for internationals. That I would say the one that trumps it all is when I made a decision to play for Samoa, and it wasn't only just to represent an international team. This all goes all the way back to, representing my heritage, my family, representing myself, and I'm standing for something that's bigger than the game. And this prior to making the decision in Samoa, there was a measles epidemic that had happened, and we were like, okay, what is we can do? So we did a measles toy drive. There were a few obstacles that we had to overcome, but we did overcome that with the great love and support of the NRL community came together, the people, the friends and family that support us as well. So we took it over to Samoa, and we had some great legends, All Blacks, and they came along as well. And we did this within, I think it was 72 hours, and it just tied that connection to the reason why I need to represent my people as well. So yeah, playing for Toa Samoa was huge, and given the success that we have created over the last couple of years, it does a lot of the next generation wanting to represent. That's probably one of the biggest highlight of my career, doing this along with my wife as well. So yeah, I love it.
So inspirational. I think that's a great example of really going above and beyond and using your platform to really do great things. When I see you two or we catch up for coffees, you're just a joy to be around because you really just live and breathe being good humans. And we love that.
Yeah, thanks. It's values and respect is the biggest one for us, and I think
Yes.
that ties in to especially with Samoans as well, Pacific Islanders. It's values, it's respect, it's community, and being of service as well to you, your family, and the wider community. So whatever walk of life that you come from, it all ties them back down to the values and respect that you have for yourself and your community.
100%. On that note, you were then recognized as a Matai, which is an incredible honor. Can you explain what does that mean? What responsibility comes with that in your culture?
So a Matai is I was bestowed upon a chief title. So back in Samoa, in our village, there are high chiefs and orators that come together, and then they decide um, that there's titles that need to be bestowed onto the next generation. And then within my family, my folks, my aunties and uncles, and the elders as well, have decided that the title Taupau needs. I was going to be bestowed of that title, and with the responsibilities come of being of service to the greater community back in Samoa, and also serving. Your family as well, and that's what I love. It all comes back down to being of service to my family. It's what is it that I can do to help my family become better, whether it's daily, weekly, whatever it is. So yeah, it's a big commitment and big responsibility, but it's one that I love, and I guess I relate it back to my rugby league career. That there is a massive responsibility of me being one of the elder players in the game, and for that, it's you have to look after the younger generation and educate them and share your wisdom on what things that worked and what didn't work.
Absolutely. And you've just touched on the education and wisdom. And I wanted just to have a quick chat about your time at uni. So we were chatting earlier about when you were playing, you also recognized that this playing career wouldn't last forever, as with any athlete, and taking a look at what comes next. What is it that you studied and what brought that decision on?
So playing rugby league, I thought it was the be all and end all, and it was going to last forever. But there are a few athletes that were in the back end of their career as well, and also current athletes that were studying. And at the time, I wanted to sort of explore what the other side of the rugby league pitch was like. And I love education. I do love trying to be better. So whether it's educating myself in a discipline that I really, really love, and one of them was business. So I was doing my Bachelor of Business, and like I really love that in rugby league, a lot of people in business and especially in corporate. So I love putting myself in corporate and just get to network and understand what they do, how they do certain things. And that was the reason why I applied and put myself into uni was, yeah, what are the skills that I have learned in rugby league as an athlete and how can I apply that in the business world? And the most obvious thing was communication. And me being a young Pacifica Islander, it was in corporate rooms. Most players do this. We'll walk into a corporate room and the boys or girls will go stand in the corner and just that's it. Doesn't want to talk to anyone. But what I've quickly realized is that when it all starts with hello, and because everyone in that room loves sport, then that's the first icebreaker. And then there's other interests that you might be interested in, as well as the other party. What I really love is connecting. It's all about leveraging and helping people rather than competing. So yeah, like doing my Bachelor of Business, I absolutely love that. Despite the times that it was being late, it was a 7 p.m. lecture class. But when I went in there, it was connecting with young students. It was connecting with people that have some really, really great knowledge to share. And I would have never known if I didn't go in those rooms or lecture classes. And funny enough, we have got our own business. I'm enjoying it. It's a different kind of hard compared to playing rugby league. Rugby league, it's physical, it's mental, it's everything. But this is more mental as well. But yeah, I love it. I love what we're doing. It's passion, and without passion, it will be really, really hard for anyone to continue doing what they do if they don't love it.
100%. And I think you're right about that connection in the corporate environment. I think we need to do more of it because at the end of the day, it's all high performance, but we just need to speak the same language. Sport is the great way to do that. There's so much opportunity, and I just really applaud you for stepping into that space and taking it with both hands.
Yeah, it gets real interesting that in rugby league, there's this sort of stigma that there are a lot of people out there to capitalize on what you do. And I guess for athletes is to have a really great understanding of who you are. Like, what are your values? What do you stand for? What is the foundation that you are going to stand on and be proud to say that I am so and so? And when you figure that out, it gives you so much more confidence in walking into a room or speaking to someone and be able to share who you are, what you do. I am Marty Taupau. I'm a professional athlete, do X, Y, and Z. And yeah, these are the things that I actually love. And then we're in corporate rooms, functions, they might say, oh, this is great. Like, I love that you're really interested in construction, or I love that you love reading books and sharing whatever it is. I believe that there are so many synergies or there are things that we could actually work on. So yeah, there are a lot of opportunities, but it just takes just a little bit of understanding of self before you put yourself out there.
100%. Interesting comment you made there where athletes can be thinking people are there to capitalize on your abilities. What you mentioned earlier about being of service is that shift of mindset, because I think when you're of service to somebody, it allows you to open up and look for those synergies, like you say. And maybe there's none in that room, and that's okay too. It's been a practice session for you to get better or to know how to pivot and be in a different kind of room, right? So I think learning all the time, and it's the same. I'm no athlete, obviously, but being on the field when you're training, you're always learning, you're always refining what worked, what didn't work. And I think taking that mindset into that in different environment is a really great skill to have too.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say this. Me and Sheriff said this. We are all athletes. Whether you think that you're not, we are all athletes. We all have to wake up in the morning. We all have to be disciplined in getting ourselves prepared for work, doing what we need to do to get through the day. Yeah. So irrespective of what walk of life that you do or where you come from, we both believe that we are all athletes. There are disciplines, there are systems, there are habits that we all live by. And it may not be the same as the professional athletes that you see, playing on TV, but at the end of the day, you are an athlete. Like, you constantly show up every single day. And that's what we tell people. You do everything you need to do to look after yourself. You are an athlete.
I feel better now. Thank you. Because sometimes I'm talking to these athletes and I'm like, what am I doing? I know I have my skills and they've got their skills. I can't compare for that level of physical performance. But I love that reframing. Thank you. You've made me feel so much better.
If we were to flip the script, there are days where there's imposter syndrome of like when I'm tired, I don't want to do it. Um, I just say to myself, I'm not a business owner, and like, but I am. I'm a business owner, and I've said this to many athletes as well over the years: is that you may see yourself as a professional athlete, and you are part of a team and a bigger organization. Yes, you are, but at the end of the day, when you are on your own in corporate rooms or when you're talking to someone in business, you are your own CEO. So when someone asks you, please tell me more about you, I would say to these people, this is a perfect opportunity for you to understand what your 30-second spill is. So you could say, hi, my name is um, Tom Jerry, and I'm a professional athlete. I love posting on Instagram of cooking, and I love cooking, and I love talking about diet and how to be a high performer in diets and X, Y, Z. People would sort of shift their mindset of thinking, oh, he or she is not just a professional athlete; they are an entrepreneur. Or they are a social media expert, or it's something like that. So it's just all about reframing, just shifting that mindset from I'm not to I can or I will or I am.
Yes, absolutely. The imposter syndrome thing is a super interesting one. I feel like so many people deal with that in different ways, and we always think that we're the only ones, right? Because we're in our own heads. So having a system to refer back to anchor yourself to remind yourself and have that improved self-talk. I think it's okay that we sometimes go into the negative so long as we don't stay there, right? We have to bring ourselves back because we're always learning. There's always something new to do. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Marty, after an incredible career and studying as well, you then exited being a professional athlete and found yourself in the transition period. What does that other side look like? You've lived it. Can you talk a little bit about that for us?
Okay. So I've officially retired in October 2025. And prior to that decision, I thought I was preparing myself. Like I kept saying to myself, like I'm ready. There were certain steps in place that the business was running at the time. I was kind of dabbing my toe into it, and it was like, okay, I'm ready for this. But then when the decision was made, and then my transition out of rugby league commenced, it was the hardest thing I have ever endured. It more mentally than physically. It was from being around your mates, the camaraderie, you miss that, the level of competitiveness. Like I miss that because in my whole adult life, I've played professional rugby league. So walking away from that was really, really difficult. Being surrounded by a lot of your friends and different people, that was really, really difficult. And then the hardest thing ever would be the identity piece. So it was for my whole life, I've always viewed myself, I'm a rugby league player. And that was it. I tried to change reframe the way that I'll say, yeah, I'm a rugby league player. It's like, no, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a business owner, but it'll just always reflect that I'm a rugby league player. And that is the hardest thing. Now, like I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, I'm a loving husband. I love what we do. I'm a dog parent. I love our dogs. And yeah, it's really, really hard. There are moments where like I sit at my desk and their silence is deafening. It is the loudest thing in the world for me, and it's being outside of what was familiar and I felt really comfortable. Not being a part of that was really, really hard. And then also the systems that I was a part of. So wake up in the morning coffee, breakfast with my wife, catch up with the boys, and then train with the boys, gym with the lads. We'll have dinner. Everything. It was everything was structured. You're going to be here at this time. Got to do this with that. You got to play. Everything was so structured. And when I had walked away from that, it was like I was just drowning in the middle of the ocean, screaming for help, and no one was there. And thankfully, the business that we are in is all about systems. When things are going really, really well, it's great. A lot of people don't really need to go back to their playbook and say, oh, yeah, I don't need it. But it's when times are really, really tough. It's when you can't train. It's when an event comes up for parents. It's what are the systems in place that will help you get back into that and become who you need to be for in that environment. And luckily with our business, it's helping me create a system and habits and helping me re-identify who I am. And it's really kept me sane. And like, I love it. I love talking about this because there's so many people that I speak to and saying, oh, yeah, it's getting a little difficult. I just walked away from a job, or even for mothers out there that come back from maternity leave, 9, 10 months away, and there's that identity crisis that they encounter as well. And yeah, it all comes back to what system do you have in place that will help you knock you back into line and be great, perform.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing that. I know that was super vulnerable for you to open up and talk about that, but I think it's really, really necessary that people do understand these stories or these experiences because it's real and it's very jarring. Do you have a tip for another athlete who's going through this transition, or it may be upcoming, whether it's a contract ending or they just keep having injuries and they're not quite sure what next looks like for them? What could they do right now to help with that transition?
It's identifying what you love, whether it's cooking, whether it's connecting, find other hobbies, other things that really give you that little bit of joy inside of you. And then in sport, because you're lucky to be able to step into rooms that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to. And you get to meet a variety of people as well in business. So connect with those people. Just have a conversation of, hi, my name is John. What is your connection with the business? Or how did you get connected with rugby league? And it'll start from there. And look, there may be opportunities that will come out of it straight away, but there may not be. But the most important thing is connection, starting that conversation with someone, because later down the track, that this person might be a great person to partner or collaborate with. So I would say that would be the most important things for athletes, whether they're in entry level, going through in their peak, or also thinking about exiting the game, is introduction, understand who you are and create your 30-second pitch.
I have this belief that athletes aren't underpaid for opportunities. They're actually underpositioning themselves. And I think that leads back to what you're saying. It's communicating your value properly.
Yeah, 100%. Like the athletes find it really difficult to articulate who they are and what value that they could bring. A lot of athletes aren't really educated in the way to position themselves and articulate who they are.
That's one thing that Bells and I are really focusing on in our work with MatchFit 360, helping bridge that gap so athletes can understand their value and communicate it in the right way to corporates who are looking to engage athletes, because exactly what we spoke about at the beginning, sport is such a great way to communicate, to bring people together. So I think if we can translate that a little better, it's better outcomes for everybody.
Yeah, 100%. It all comes back to education. If you speak their lingo, they get it and it clicks quicker. I wish what you guys have provided or providing now is what I had back then. I wish I had it. I wish someone was able to sit down with me and create me a pitch deck. Just being able to understand my brand, protect my brand. And also with that, if you can protect your brand, you can protect your income. Look, if I had this back when I was in my 20s, I would have thrown everything at you and say, "Oh, thank you. Like, give me more." Because I had to do it the hard way. I guess I had to do the hours of just trying to figure it out and through introductions and asking people.
Yeah, 100%. It helps you no matter the phase that you're in, right? Because as we've spoken about, there's the early days and then there's the playing career, but then setting yourself up for what's next.
Yeah, I love it. Like the commercial framework that you guys have built for athletes, it's amazing. And if athletes are not jumping on board, they'll be silly too, because there are so many opportunities for the athletes there. Uh, it's endless and endless, especially in this day and age with social media. If you harness that power of social media and pair it with framework that you guys are providing, is just like you'll be unstoppable.
Thanks, Marty. I really appreciate that. So now you are running this amazing business, Not Stationary. Tell us all about that. And I'm going to give you a little plug. I love it, by the way. Thank you. Bells and I use them all the time. I can't say enough about them. But anyway, I'd love to hear how this all came about and where you guys are at with it.
Well, Not Stationary. It's funny. I was playing for the Brisbane Broncos back in 2023. And we were doing a drive from Sydney to Brisbane, and we were talking about, there's no product on the market that we love. And it was some just talking, deliberating about it. And I said, honey, let's just create one. And she goes, what? I was like, let's just create a product. So this was July. This is in around July 2023. We launched our first product in October 2023. It happened so fast.
Wow.
I was like, what? And this is all based off my experience as a professional athlete. 16 years I've played in the game. And also Michelle, over 15 years of working in corporate. She's owned businesses. She is the boss. There's no other way to go about it. She is boss. She is my boss. Because in the business, I'm an intern, and she probably doesn't like me saying this, but it's a little lighthearted. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm stepping into the new world of business. I view myself, I'm an intern at the moment, so I have to take direction from the boss, and she knows everything. I was like thinking, damn, how do you know this stuff, honey? How do you know the web of connections and wisdom and knowledge that she has? I love it. Thank God I'm married to her and she's my business partner. So not stationary, it's a high performance and wellbeing system. We help individuals or groups of people create better systems for them to perform. But like I mentioned before, you may have a system that will help you hit your KPIs, you sell 10K of assets as a salesman in games on the weekend. But what is the system that you have in place when you don't hit your KPIs, you don't win a game on the weekend? How do you create a system that will help you get back on track and identify, this is what I need to do, this is how I do it, this is who I need help with? And that's what we do. With our combined experience, we come in and help individuals and groups and corporates create systems that will help them be high performers. That's through workshops, do coaching, and I use every one of these products on my desk. I've got one for business. I've got a 12-week planner, so it's 12 weeks to help me stay on track with our business for every 12 weeks. I've got a daily planner, which is purely just for life and journaling on, what's great, what didn't work for me, what did work for me. And then I have notebooks for various conversations that I need to keep note of. So we've got physical tools, we share our experiences, and it all comes back down to values. For me, it's like, what are my values? Is it aligned with my wife's values? Is it aligned with our business core values? And when you speak about it, for me, it's like I've just taken 2 Red Bulls and had 6 coffees and I'm ready to roll. And when you get to know yourself better, it's like, you can conquer the world. And this is the stuff that we love. It's bringing value with physical tools and with the services that we provide.
Yeah, fantastic. I absolutely love them. I know that I've said that many, many times to you guys, but genuinely they are super helpful. And I love the structure to it. There is structure enough where you can apply it, but you don't feel rigid, if that makes sense, because I think we all need flex. And I think the approach that you guys bring is like, set the plan or the intention or the goal on how you want to get there, but don't beat yourself up if you didn't do everything today, And I think that makes it livable. It makes it real. It makes me not have the guilt if I wasn't 100% that day, but I always know that I'm moving forward. Yeah. Love it. The other thing I love too is that it is a physical product. I know that there's research to say that the connection between hand and mind and the writing sticks with you better. We're also digital these days. Sometimes it can get lost and you can throw too many things to ChatGPT and AI can decide what your day looks like.
Yeah, we love it. Even the name Not Stationary too, it's just refusing to let yourself stay still. It's all about growth. Whether you're going up in the world or you're going backwards, you are moving and you either learn or you get better.
So we always close out with one last question. If I can ask you, what does becoming match fit mean to you?
So for me, becoming match fit, it means showing up prepared, not physically, but mentally, commercially, and relationally. And then it means knowing your value and having the tools to prove it.
Fantastic. I love that so much. Thank you for joining me today. It's been such a fun conversation, and I'm sure people will get so much value out of your insights that you've shared. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good fun.
It was good fun. All right. I'll catch you soon. Thanks, Marty.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to Becoming Match Fit. If today's conversation inspired you, feel free to share it with a teammate or someone you love as well. You can access free tools, resources, and our community in MatchFit 360 Academy. The link is in the show notes. Until next time, unlock your value, change your game, and become MatchFit.